Norm Norlander here. I'd like to tie for you a pattern called a freshwater scud. Now, these are really important little rascals, very often referred to as freshwater shrimp. But some areas like below these dams, these tailwater fisheries, and under the ice in the winter time, these little rascals are just about the only food our trout have to eat. They're really important. Now they can be tied in a variety of sizes and colors and things. We're going to use a relatively large one here. This is a size 10, and we'll start out with the size 10 hook. These are heavy wire scud hooks. Now you're going to fish these things rather deep over the weed beds, and so you want them to sink. So now you see we've got that set so that we can rotate the vise and spin the vise. The real benefit of the fine point system here is to tie down around the bend of the hook. We'll start out by dressing the hook. This is where we put on a layer of working thread. Again, take your bobbin, hold it against the hook. You can go in and out of the gape and you won't cut your thread. Now for a tail, I'm going to use some hackle barbs. This is just a little olive hackle, and we'll strip off a few barbs like so. Get them so that the tips are evened up pretty good. And see how we do that? Now we want these down at about a 45-degree angle. So we'll start up here. We'll tie them in up here in the middle and then work our way back. This way we can go about as far as we need to be, and we can get that angle just right. See how they're sloping down there now? There you go. That looks pretty good. Next, I'm going to lay in a little piece of copper wire. This is a dark copper wire, and we're going to use that as a rib, segmentation as it were. So we'll just tie that in about here, and I'll break a little piece off. Store that in your material holder when we get back there. Okay. Now we're almost to the tie-in point right about there, and we tuck our ribbing wire away. Now for the shell back, I'm going to use this Swiss straw. It's really neat stuff. You can flare it out and it'll give it kind of a translucent effect. So we're going to lay in a little piece of Swiss straw. I'm going to pull this over the top when we get through. That forms this shell back effect. And again, all the way back to the tie-in point. Okay, a little bit of extra feather there. We clip that off. Bring our thread up towards the front. Now the next trick is, this is some lead wire. You can see it's soft lead wire. And we cut the wire, you can see the tip there, at an angle. Now we're not going to wrap this wire around the hook. We're going to tie it in on the top of the hook. See how we catch that little point there? And that gives us a nice smooth transition. Now the reason for tying this lengthwise or longitudinally is that the bugs tend to be kind of flat-sided, sort of like a bluegill, you might say. We get to the back, right in here. Again, we're going to take and cut this at a bevel, like this. Push it down, and that'll give us a nice, smooth transition, as you can see, into the back side of this little bug. Okay, down about there. Kind of nice, so you can rotate this thing back and forth so you can see just right where you are. Bring the thread forward, and I'm going to roll in a 1/2 inch. You probably don't need to, but it doesn't hurt. Now for the body material, we're going to use some of this sow scud. It's a synthetic dubbing. It works especially nice in that we can comb it out to form the legs, as it were, of this little rascal. So take a little pinch of dubbing, and we're going to spin this on to our working thread. Don't have to use any wax or loops or little gadgets. Norvise will do it for you. Okay. Now if you rotate the vise, we can run this all the way to the back. Now when we get down here where we're going to hit the point of the hook, use the friction clamp and this turning arm, and so you can weave this in and out of the gape of the hook. all the way back down to the tie-in point again of our tail and rib and all that. And then we work our way forward. See how nice that goes on there? Isn't that neat, guys? All the way up to the front. And there you go. Again, I'm going to roll in a half hitch. Now at this point, we're going to bring our, oops, we got a little wild hair there. We're going to bring our shell back, as it were, over the top, about like so. Catch it with a soft loop, a couple nice firm wraps, and half hitch it in place. Okay. That ribbing wire, I'm going to hold on to it here with my hemostat. It doesn't slip that way. And we'll start at the back, and we're going to come forward, putting nice even segmentations in that body. How neat that is? Pretty simple. All the way up to the front. Take a couple turns around the eye of the hook. Come in with our thread, capture our rib wire. We'll start our head with a half hitch, and we'll finish it with a whip finish like so. Okay. Clip that off. Finally, to make it look like a scud, we use a wire brush and we brush this dubbing out on the bottom, and it will simulate the legs, as it were, of these little rascals. This is a lot easier, I think, than using a needle and picking them out individually. If you have any wild ones, you can clip those off like so. There you go, guys. Freshwater scud or shrimp. It's just a terrific pattern. You see how that tail comes down at an angle? You got those little legs projecting through the bottom. These things really work. Give them a go, okay?